this. Listen, I said 7 days would be the fastest. Nobody is beating this. You can't prove me wrong. Nobody can do this.
Starting off the challenge, we have Verruckt as our first map, which in my opinion is considered to be the hardest map on BO3, but some may argue Shang is actually more difficult. Rules for this challenge is the same as before. This is a 5 days real-time challenge, meaning if you have to eat or bathroom break or need to take a nap, the timer is still ticking. On the screen, the timer colored in red is a 24 hours countdown, and once that reaches 0, the next day begins and the timer restarts. The white timer will indicate the time it takes for me to reach round 100 as well as the round timer. Maps will also be chosen based off top donator. Doing this in 5 days with a total of 14 maps, we would need to average 3 maps a day. Luckily, Verruckt isn't a difficult map to set up. I tend to like to camp over by Speedcola area with the doors closed for the lower round. Round 14, we already managed to get the Wonder Waffle. The goal here is to try to camp in this room for as long as possible without having to open up the door behind. Then on round 18, we finally managed to get the Mark II, but still no luck on monkey bombs. So one thing about this strategy is that you need to be familiar with how to reload your Wonder Waffle quickly. Whenever the waffle reloads and you see the ammo is back in the clip, pull out your grenade, then weapon swap. This cancels the animation instantly and allows you to shoot right away. This can be a little difficult to get used to at first because you need to get the timing right. If you do it too fast, you will end up throwing out a grenade and this can very likely get you killed. I see most people would fast reload their waffle by either knifing or simply just weapon swap back and forth. However, both methods isn't as fast as grenade swap. At around round 40, you will have to start switching between the camping strat and the one trap strat. Simply make your way over to the double tap side and stand by the trap while it's active. This will kill all the zombies including the ones coming from the window. Then after trap is over, run back to the camping strat. I think people usually tend to camp here to anywhere between round 50 to 70, but the higher the round, the more difficult this will be, so it will really depend on how comfortable you are with this strategy. I tend to trail my zombies directly at Speed Cola and shoot them down with the Mark II at the kitchen. Then bring them back to speed area and shoot them by speed. On round 55, I ended up taking my first down. I picked up the death machine and swapped immediately thinking that it was going to pull my waffle back, but instead it pulled the Mark II. And that basically screwed me over. I probably would have been okay if it swapped my waffle out first instead. At round 60, I still managed to be able to camp at speed. At this point, I was starting to get nervous since I think my highest round camping here and prior to this was round 59. It's round 65, Insomnia, and you're still here? What are you doing? Round 67? You crazy? Round 69? Nah. Unfortunately, this was the final round that I could stay. I had to bail because I was broke as hell on ammo. It was a huge W that I managed to not open up the door for so long, but unfortunately, this was also the same round that I took my second down. Somehow a zombie got through the cave trap and I didn't notice, and I completely got sandwiched by the window zombie. This down actually put me in a very bad position since I had no monkey bombs and only one waffle shot, while the trap is still running. No, I did. I don't know. Where the did that zombie come from? Did he like... Okay, I don't know. Oh my god. Okay, I'm in a very bad shape right now. And my trap... Yeah, and the trap is on. Like, I can't get jugged. Like, oh my goodness. Jesus. What do I do here, chat? Like, what do I do? Thank God I was carrying 2 in plain sights on me. I ended up doing a waffle trail at the end of round 69 as well since I wasn't guaranteed alchemical next round. Now since Speedcola door is open, we transition over to the double trap strat. On round 76, I ended up taking my third down. This specific way of downing has been so common for me because what happened here is because I play on controller, when you sprint and slide, sometimes it will make you prone instead because you either press them at the same time or you try sliding without managing to fully sprint. And this is why mouse and keyboard is so much more smoother. At this point in the game, it was already looking really bad for me since round 76 wasn't even halfway to round 100 on this map, and I was already sold out on QR. Round 80 is the halfway point in case if you were wondering. Going onward, I decided that I am only going to sprint instead of sliding through the trap because I didn't want to deal with another unavoidable down. And with careful execution, we managed to hit that miracle round 100 at 7 hours and 43 minutes with 3 down. Moving on to map number 2, we have Revelation. This was a crazy pick because we literally just went from the hardest map to the easiest map on this challenge. Although this map is known to be easy for high rounding, the setup is sure kind of annoying because not only do we need both the wonder weapons, we also need rags, and we gotta switch on the 5 rituals and upgrade the apothecary. I always forget that this weapon even existed on this map, nor the name of it. So I usually just call it the bullshit gun. Luckily on round 6, we already managed to get the apothecary. Every time I look for the stones to shoot, it hurts my eyes so so badly because I'm colorblind. Then on round 13, we finally got the thunder gun. Now it's time to pack a punch. Eat me! Luckily, I ended up getting rags without losing additional time as the box already moved to the high round area. This high round strategy is basically being stationary and shooting your apothecon. Every apothecon shot should charge up your rags fully. The strategy is so chill and you'll easily cruise to round 100. Sometimes a little too chill that you wouldn't even notice a zombie stuck by and down you. And this is the exact reason why I have Widow's Wand as one of my perks. This was my moment to be able to eat and play at the same time without losing time. Funny thing is, although this is Revelations, we're actually still trapped in Verruckt as this high round strategy revolves only in this area. Round 15 and only 8 minutes over an hour. We're just cruising. It gets to the point where these bug rounds takes even longer than normal rounds. But luckily they are nowhere as bad as how when BO6 first launched when I had to do 1 hour plus vermin round. Like what were they thinking? One mistake that I realized in this game was I should have bought meal kick over speed cola because I didn't have a bola gun to take out the bug round. So I had to use the traps a little bit. On round 64 I finally managed to pick up my free reward perk because the quest was to kill one of each elemental Margwa and I was straight up only getting panzer. A good tip of advice to control drops is when you're shooting the apothecon, shoot your shots behind the cage. Then when you're running low on ammo, shoot the left wall to get your drop. This way you can try to hold out your max ammo drop. Then at 3 hours and 22 minutes we managed to hit that round 100 flawless. On to the third map, we have Shadows of Evil, which is probably majority's favorite map of choice on BO3. This is one of those maps where if you haven't played it for a very long time, you end up forgetting how to set up because there's just so many steps that you got to do. That is 1 out of 4 rituals completed. 2 out of 4 rituals completed. I low-key had to study the map layout here, not just because I wasn't sure which side were the symbols at, but trying to figure out if I was either at canals or footlight area. Speaking facts here, but I think being able to take the train is one of the best features they have added to this map because the vibe of traveling within the city is just so damn cool. Yay! It's spaghetti meatball round. This ritual room got crowded hella fast. Made me felt like I was playing Outbreak Holdout but with Rampage Inducer on. And that is the last ritual completed. Finally getting Pack-a-Punch opened. Intensified music playing during this moment, yet the game doesn't get any harder. On round 15, we managed to obtain the 3 Egyptian god cards to craft the apothecon. Got the upgraded sword, and the last thing we needed was to get blast furnace on the Kuda, which costed me nearly 20 grand. Now we are ready for the high round strategy at Waterfront. Just in case if you didn't know, Waterfront strat is no longer the meta strat anymore on this map, as a new strat called the Junction strat was discovered. I didn't do the new strat in my game since I didn't know how to do it and it just wasn't worth the time learning to save a little over an hour. It's a bit sad to say, but that new strat has transformed this map to become Revelation 2.0, so you're rarely going to see people do the Waterfront strat anymore. Between round 20 to 40-ish, I like to spam my apothecon to the left and to the front just to speed up the round. Another great way is to only shoot your apothecon at the front while letting your sword kill the spawns coming from the left. Thank God calling in a Silver Protector can instant kill the Margwa. Back when I first started learning how to high round this map, I didn't know you can actually grab the max ammo out of the boundaries with the beast mode. So now I feel robbed. Almost took it down here at round 81, but luckily I reacted fast enough. Max ammo! Everyone reload! Man, I miss the old days where people would say that. Unlike modern zombie games, max ammo drops don't feel special no more since you literally have ammo crates. At round 80 plus, you will have to start mixing in a bit of training and using blast furnace from your Kuda to take out the zombie horde. Got super lucky with a bug round on 99 and that granted us a sub 4 hours to round 100 flawless. Up next, we have the Giant as our 4th map. Up to this point, we already been awake for 16 hours and I was starting to feel kind of tired, which wasn't a good sign. From the bright side, we have already completed the average of 3 maps on day 1, but 2 out of the 3 maps were fast maps. So I still wasn't feeling confident at all in completing this challenge. Typically, people would restart for stamina up for this map, but since we're only going for 100, I don't think we really need it, and I just can't afford to lose time resetting because this challenge is like a time bomb. Every second, every minute count. Not gonna lie, but after playing BO3 a lot more, I started really liking the Dredge LMG. I used to hate it a lot because it wasn't a full automatic gun, but I actually feel like this gun is a lot more powerful than most of the other LMGs. On round 19, we finally got the Wonder Waffle and ended up getting monkey bombs from the same box on round 20. Now it's time to Pack-a-Punch it where it all first began. I miss the times when you had a real animation each time you upgraded your gun. I mean, I paid 5,000 to upgrade, so I at least deserve a little show, right? Had an unexpected scenario where I got stuck and had to use instant transmission to get out. But if you look closely again, there was no zombies coming from the right side, so where did this zombie come from? I had to replay my clip at extreme low speed to finally see a figure popped out of nowhere, because if he spawned from the right window, he would have been more on the right side and I would have easily been able to spot his blue eyes. Up to at least round 50, it's pretty much just camping on the spawn room platform and spamming your waffle shot. Fun fact is waffle does not give drops, nor does dead wire ammo mods on maps with waffle. Therefore, I had to use either Thunderwall, Turn, or Blast Furnace on my secondary RK5. Who let the dogs out? Who? Ammo was starting to become difficult, so I started training by the RK5. Let's go! Thunderwall for the W drop! I was trying to mid-pack my RK5 because I was still testing out which ammo mod might be better, and guess what? We got a classic monkey bomb fail, and thank lord I had in plain sight in my pocket at the same time, or else I would have been toasted. At this point, I took a pause on round 70 to briefly think about how I should plan this challenge out, because I was actually feeling extremely tired, yet we were only awake for 18 hours. In comparison to my first attempt 2 months ago, I actually managed to do 28 hours straight on day 1, and I don't recall myself being as tired. I decided to maybe just push a bit further. Don't think I was going to be able to complete this map on day 1. Then at the end of round 77, I had to pause it for the day as I couldn't even keep my eyes open. Overall, I was pretty disappointed with the amount of hours I put in on day 1, because the first day should be the strongest. The ideal scenario would have been to complete Giant 100 and the following next map and then to get off. So I ended up taking 4 hours for my first nap, and we resumed our game with just a few minutes left for day 1. That being said, day 2 has begun at the start of round 79. My go-to day was to try to clock in more hours than I did on day 1. On round 82, I ended up taking my first down. Unfortunately, the dogs were hungry. I rebought my perks back, but one thing I changed was I picked Mule Kick over Speed, since we'll primarily be using ammo mod. For the rest of the game, the strategy was simply just to train right next to RK5. I decided to keep my waffle all the way to 100 and use it whenever I had ammo or alchemical. Then at 5 hours and 17 minutes, we got that round 100 on the screen with 1 down. Moon, that is going to be our 5th map. Before we do anything, we always got to make sure it's Jug as the first perk. The main 2 things we will need are the wave gun and Gersh device, but Moon is known to have terrible RNG. Luckily, we did manage to get Gershes by round 11, so that was a very good start. Then by round 19, we also got the wave gun. Honestly, this wasn't too bad, because sometimes by round 30 plus, you still won't have the wave gun. Time to upgrade them. And now we're off to the high round strategy. For the rest of the game, we're just going to be stationary by this window in tunnel 11 room and shoot our wave gun. Zombies will only spawn from the window and from the ceiling in front, so the rounds will be flying. Moon is known to be the fastest round 100 and as well as even 200, which is pretty nutty because most people would have thought that Revelation would have been the quickest. On round 31, I took the teleporter back to spawn because there was already a drow at 10:06, and I can't believe this happened. Like, wow, the astronaut was just waiting for me right there. I even knew he spawned in, but I actually waited a little bit into the round before taking the teleporter, so what are the odds of this happening? And the fact that he took away my Jug as well. Had to teleport 2 more times to get Jug because it was Speed Cola up first. Now we're back on track. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen again. One thing I did differently to save time on this 100 run compared to my 7 days was that I only left to hack the excavator if it was targeting tunnel 11, meaning that I would let Biodome and tunnel 6 get breached on purpose. Being able to hack drops is probably the best feature that I love about this map because it's just so satisfying. Round 80 at just a little over 2 hours and we're still cruising. Then on round 86, I totally forgot that tunnel 6 was currently breached and I basically killed myself taking our first down. This was actually really bad because we were in a very bad spot with 4 ammo left on the wave gun. I had to pause and think about what to do for a moment because we need to go all the way around and teleport, and we had to bring the hacker device with us, otherwise the strategy is toasted because we wouldn't be able to go through tunnel 6. Luckily, I made sure it was Jug the next time I teleported. However, we need to hack all 3 excavators and it's a pain without Gershes and Speed Cola. And once again, that evil astronaut tried waiting for me at spawn. Could you imagine if it actually got me there again and I lost Jug and teleported me to the other side? Might have been game over. Luckily, we were able to clutch it because I think if we actually GG'd there, it would have been another fail in the challenge. Then at 3 hours and 23 minutes, we managed to clutch this round 100 with 1 down. Moving on to my favorite map on BO3. BO3, we have the Eisendrache. There are no words that can describe just how beautiful this map is. The main thing we need to work on here is to get the lighting version of the bow. It's always so satisfying when you actually hit this shot. Naruto! Not sure if anyone has ever noticed this, but for some reason, trying to pack or pick up your weapon from the pack machine is kind of buggy on this map, so you kind of have to do it from the side. On round 19, we managed to get our lighting bow as well as our cherry on our first hit from Wonderfist. Now we're pretty much ready for the high round strategy. We're gonna be stationary at the top of the stairs in the church room. This strategy is honestly so relaxing because you're basically just charge shooting the floor. Place your rags down whenever you have them ready. We have lighting from our bow, we have lighting from our rags, and we have lighting from our dead wire ammo mod. Like, damn. Call me Thor! On round 51, I took my first down due to just playing poorly. Backed myself into a table when I knew deep down it's never safe to camp by this doorway. This door should be given a name, the Door of Hell. On round 63, I took another down, but I gotta be honest, this was kind of unlucky. I charged on my bow, went down to try to pick up my rags, and a dog blocked me from the back while the storm moved away to the right, which didn't kill any zombies spawning from the window. Luckily, every down so far, we have managed to be able to get Cherry back on our first hit each time. Now that is some crazy RNG because if you are a regular player on this map, you will understand that is usually not the case. The Decepticons are here. Autobots roll out. On round 89, something crazy happened that I've never seen before, but this zombie was literally floating and you cannot kill him. I ended up having to despawn him in order to get through the round. At round 90 plus, you may have to swap over to Cherry Rado strat in order to prolong your lightning bow ammo. This is probably the trickiest part in trying to high round this map, and that is to get down the timing for your cherry reload to be able to do it consistently. Then at 4 hours and 29 minutes, we reached the round 100 mark with 2 down. Welcome to Origins, our 7th map for the challenge. At this point, we have been grinding for 12 hours since our first nap, and I was feeling alright at this time, but a pimple did grew on my lip, so I wasn't really a fan of that. Love milking these points when I'm in zombie blood with double point. Could never do something like this with the modern point system. Managed to leave the first room with 10k points, which was a big W in my opinion. Not really sure why, but every time the zombies come down to this area, the graphics kind of drops and they look like Minecraft zombies. This is probably the worst ABH I've ever popped because it literally just put me a few steps back and I'm still surrounded by zombies. Ended up taking my first down around 11, like that is just frustrating. I normally would reset, but losing 22 minutes is just not worth it for this challenge. On Black Ops 2, you could actually do this part so much easier by doing a charge shot and pulling out your shield. Too bad you can't do this on BO3. I made a huge mistake here by accidentally drinking double tap because I was trying to spin for Widow's Wine, then pick up the free double tap from spawn. This basically just made the high round strat a lot more annoying because Widows would have been so useful to try to bait and max ammo, and I didn't want to purposely take a down as I already had a down. Anyways, off to the high round strategy we go. We head over to the fire tunnel near spawn. Make sure to have the grapple phone on you as well in case you need to bail. We'll be primarily using our ice staff here and charge shooting the wall. This way it instant kills the spawns coming from the tunnel and reduces the odds of getting dropped. Always charge shot to the second level only, never to the third unless you have a max ammo or alchemical activated. Whenever a panzer spawns, a simple trick to take him out easily is one charge shot from your ice staff, then swap over to the healing rod and it actually instant kills him. The strategy is pretty chill overall. The main concern is you have to keep aware of when panzer rounds are and your gobblegum cycle. I normally just keep 3 generators on, so if I ever needed ammo, I would switch one on at the end of the round to guarantee the max ammo at the beginning of next round. For secondary, I had turn ammo mod on my M1927 just to speed up the round. When you start running low on ammo and you want to try to force a drop, that is when you have to charge shot the floor further away from the wall. This is why Widows would have been so useful because it can literally just stun all the zombies in this room. Somewhere in the 90 plus, you might encounter some bad RNG where you're just not going to have enough ammo. That is when you have to swap over to training at the excavation site with dead wire on your M19. Breezing through the rounds, we wrapped up Origins 100 at 4 hours and 29 minutes with the unfortunate 1 down. Off to the 8th map, we have Gorod Krovi. Before anything, take a look at the perk quests and make sure you have an easy quest. I'm really hoping that we can get an electric cherry. So at this point in the challenge, we have already completed exactly half of the maps. However, we still have the longest maps such as Nacht and Shi No Numa waiting for us. And even Gorod Krovi itself is not a fast map. I low-key really like this AR because the iron sight reminds me of the AN94 from BO2. I think Valkyrie are by far my least favorite special rounds. I just find them so annoying to deal with. For some reason, Mark III are just so common to get on Gorod. god. Just call it my Red Eyes Black Dragon. This lockdown is low-key pretty fun. I wish there was a challenge where it was unlimited waves of lockdown. If this was me, I definitely would not be able to hold my breath long enough to make it out of this sewer. For the lower rounds, I simply just camp by the bridge at the stamina up room and using my Mark III. It's unfortunate that these wonder weapons fall off or potentially will crash your game, which makes them not viable for high round. I decided that I was only going to camp here up to 40 because the high 30s were already getting kinda sketchy. Praying for cherry here, praying for cherry here, and that shot, just wonderful. Now it's time for the high round strategy, which will involve us staying in the bunker room with the door behind us closed. The thing about Gorod is the strategy is very unique compared to any of the other maps because who would have thought that the shield can be used like a wonder weapon. The point here is to use your 3 shield blasts and to try to break your shield as fast as possible. Then you will swap to your Vesper to activate turn and use your Mark III to slow down the zombies to pick up a brand new shield. Valkyries are the most annoying shit about this strat. The fact that they are literally just body blockers. I think this map would be so much better without them. Then at 5 hours and 47 minutes, we smashed this round 100 with no down. At this point, we have already been grinding for 23 hours and I felt pretty burnt out. I think the progress we made on day 2 was a lot better than day 1 as we have completed half of Giant, Moon, Dirt, Origins, and Gorod 100. That is 4.5 maps on day 2. We have Nacht as our next map, like oh god, even thinking about that was giving me stress, and because it's going to be a very long grind, I decided to get off to take my second nap. Let our longest grind begin, Nacht Der Untoten. This marks our day 3 of the challenge. I ended up napping for about 4 hours, but I actually had to do something for my work, which took up about 2 hours, so that kinda sucked. My second nap honestly didn't feel as great as my first, as both my thumbs were in pain. If you play on controller, you will understand what I mean. The spawns on this map is ridiculously slow, so having a thermal scope on the Shiva definitely helped for the early couple rounds. This was actually my first time learning how to set up the max ammo Easter egg on this map. Got the Mark II on round 15, which was a decent start. Then back to back, we got the Thunder Gun. Like that is some crazy good RNG. For the lower rounds, I try to stay in the spawn room area and use my Thunder Gun to get the kills so that the spawns are a little bit quicker. Up to around round 45, you may have to start full hoarding them in the mystery box room in order to prolong the ammo. Hitting round 50 at just 4 minutes over 2 hours seems incredibly fast, but it's just going to start slowing down from the moment we start doing box trades. At round 70, we reached the 12 hours mark on day 3. This was actually the center point of the challenge, meaning that 60 hours of real time has gone past, and with 60 hours of real time remaining for the challenge. Rounds were starting to feel hella slow in the 70s, like we are almost at 7 hours in game time, when 26 rounds ago we were just at 2 hours. On round 80, I ended up taking my first down. I knew this was coming because I had this exact same scenario happen to me either on my 14 or 7 days challenge. But if that back window isn't boarded up and you're backing up like that, somehow zombies tend up to creep up behind. Like in a matter of 4 seconds, it went from no zombies to 3 zombies. This down was actually pretty scary because keep in mind, if we GG'd, that would have meant that the challenge is over because we could not afford to lose an 8-hour grind. Luckily, we were able to clutch it back and regain our perk. I also added a box trade tracker at the top right screen to keep track of our trades, and I have to be honest, my trade average has been absolutely terrible in this current game with a 33.12. I think on my 2-month ago attempt, my average was only in the low 20s. Then on 85, I took another down because I misaimed my Thunder Gun shot. Again, this is my own fault, but we've already been on a non-stop 10-hour grind with only a back-to-back 4-hour sleep, so sometimes it's not easy to always be focused. Again, another scary challenge ending moment, but we managed to once again regain our perk. The round 80 just felt like a freaking crawl because the craziest thing is round 85 was only the halfway mark for 100 on this map. At this point in the challenge, I gotta be honest, I was pretty freaking exhausted. Especially having to play Nacht just isn't really a motivating map for this challenge. Especially when some rounds were taking around 40 minutes, and that makes me just want to puke. I was really hoping to complete Nacht before the start of day 4, but we were just a little bit short. That being said, we only have 48 hours of real time left for the challenge. And then during the pain, we finally reached that round 100 at 17 hours and 8 minutes with 2 down. That was such a headache map, and I'm so glad we could cross out the longest map off our list, and now we have Shen that awaits us for the next map. Not gonna lie, I am quite nervous to play Shen because it was going to be another difficult map for round 100 as we'll be doing the Kuda room strat this time in order to speed things up instead of the minecart strat like we did back on the 14 and 7 days challenge. The thing about the Kuda room strat is that the tunnel door must be closed, so that being said, the pack-a-punch stone must not spawn in there, and we need to try to get the baby gun and dead wire on our Kuda, otherwise we would have to reset. That being said, I had on mind that we may have to do a few restarts on this map. Turned on the power, and glad that I see the stone was at Gorod Krovi because that gives us the maximum length of time to pack-a-punch. For the lower rounds, I just camped inside of the waterfall cave as the spawns are fairly quick here. At around this time, I was having trouble trying to stay awake. That knock game basically drained me. Then on round 18, I finally got the baby gun. Now this next part is going to be crucial here because we need to try to get dead wire on our Kuda. Managed to get our first free perk here, and it happened to be meal cake. Not exactly the perk I was hoping for, as I wanted to get double tap and widow's wine. Well, here's the moment of truth. We must get dead wire. Just that wire. That's it. Just that wire. Oh, let's go. And let's go! We got extremely lucky there and didn't have to reset our game. Now we're ready for the high round strategy. This strat requires us to train the Kuda room while using the baby gun. The strat is so much more difficult than the minecart strat, but it's so much faster for 100. I was trying to work my way in getting another free perk, but it can be quite difficult because I keep picking up my max ammos when I run through them with the baby gun. Then on round 44, I was about to get my 6th perk, and it was Deadshot. Like, come on game, couldn't even give me one of the 2 perks that I actually needed. And then there are moments where you do get the max ammo but no monkeys come. Like, this was such a perfect opportunity for me to get my 7th perk, but the game just wants to screw me over. And there are also other moments where the monkey goes up the water pump. Sometimes they may glitch through the wall and you lose your drop. I straight up was trying for 25 rounds and trying to get double tap or widow's wine. All the zombies I kill with dead wire gives me all the drops except max ammo, but every time I run the zombies over with the baby gun, it gives me the max ammo. Like, this got me very frustrated. I decided that I was going to take my 3rd nap after round 50 because I was so burnt out and I haven't ate anything for nearly 20 hours since the beginning of Knock game. So for my 3rd nap, I slept for 5 hours. I wanted to make sure I got an extra hour of sleep to make sure I could focus well on Shan because it is a tough map. Shortly after, we managed to get our 7th perk widow's wine, then followed by double tap on the round right after. Up to like round 60ish is mainly just spamming baby gun, but one thing you have to watch out for is to try to avoid shooting the baby gun at the Kuda doorway until the special zombie has spawned in for the round, because if you shoot the baby gun half a second before the napalm zombie spawns at the doorway, your game will 100% crash, and you definitely don't want that happening when you're already deep into the challenge. On round 78, I unfortunately took my first down thinking that I had a safety gun in my pocket, but I didn't. We managed to clutch up and get back our perks, but I was quite disappointed with that down because not only did I lose my extra perks, but it's also going to slow down my game now that I don't have double tap, which also means I can no longer use death machine. So around this time, even though I have only been awake for 3 hours since my 3rd nap, I unfortunately caught a fever. And this was actually really bad because I felt like I wanted to give up, but we were already on day 4 on the challenge, so I had to keep convincing myself. I nearly almost took another down here, but quite surprised I didn't. I ended up needing to take some fever pills to help me get through the remaining rounds, and we managed to bust through Shang 100 at 6 hours and 4 minutes with 1 down. It's a relief to finally get an easier map after completing 3 stressful maps back to back to back. Or maybe I spoke too soon, because if the box moves to the MA room before we get our thunder gun, it is a reset. Yeah, that is another reset. And another reset at round 17. This is actually getting ridiculous. Another reset at round 14, like, give me a break. Then finally, after wasting over an hour, we got the thunder gun. Like, we legit could have been on round 50 by now if the box wouldn't be so stubborn. Now it's time to move over to the alley strat, which is where we are gonna be until the 80 plus. You could tell I'm just leaning back on my chair because my fever was getting worse again, and I had to down another fever pill because I was just not feeling well. It's really tough to do these kind of challenges when you're actually sick. I 1000% would have given up on this challenge if I wasn't so deep in already. Trying my best to conserve my energy, I basically just autopilot the alley strat by spamming my thunder gun left and right. And due to autopiloting, I took my first down at round 48, just being unable to react fast enough. I low-key thought this might have been GG here because I had no ammo in my thunder gun clip and I had to reload. But thank God I had just enough time to reload. For dog rounds, simply just stay over by the stairs by Jug and all the dogs will spawn only in front of you. 2 hours and we're already at round 70. We are just flying through these rounds. At 80 plus, you will have to mix in a bit of training over by the VMP window in order to prolong your thunder gun ammo. Then at the end of round 89, I finally decided to open opened up the gate for the MA strap. Took me 16 upgrades to get Deadwire on my MA. Could you imagine if this was the trouble I had to go through on Shang? Would have been a big fat rip. The remaining 10 rounds will be done in the MA room where the actual high round strategy is. This is probably my favorite strat for round 100 on BO3 because you get to take a little break whenever the trap is turned on. And just being able to train in this room and Deadwiring with your MA is just so satisfying. Then at 4 hours and 53 minutes, we managed to clear out Kino 100 with 1 down, leaving us with just 3 maps left. With just 4 hours and 30 minutes left on day 4, my goal was to try to get Ascension done before the start of the final day. Just like Kino, the main thing we'll be needing here is the Thunder Gun plus Gershes, except this time we don't got to worry about resetting no matter where the box moves to. To a surprise, we actually got the Thunder Gun on our second hit. This basically means that we're able to play the rest of this game with a perfect box. I hit the box once more time just to see if we can get Gershes, since you get at least 3 hits before the box moves. But no luck. Playing without Gershes is kind of annoying, but I'd rather have perfect box in this case. I believe this is the first map that I managed to secure the perfect box. Was trying to decide what my 4 perks should be, but I ended up going with double tap and speed cola as my 3rd and 4th perk. I know it sounds crazy, but at round 13 we were already ready for the high round strat since we managed to get the Thunder Gun so damn quickly. The strat here is to basically just spam the Thunder Gun directly at the window in the center. We managed to get Meal Kick as our free perk, so that was great because we'll be needing ammo mods in the later round. During a monkey round, simply just run out and turn the fire trap on, making sure no monkeys are going after speed or Meal Kick, then drop down and head towards Judge. The reason for not having stamina up is so that you don't have to keep running to that side on every bonus round, and you really don't need it since we're mainly just camping anyways. I also let the monkeys took away the QR machine so that I don't have to worry about losing it. In the 80 plus, you will have to start mixing in a bit of half training and shooting your Thunder Gun to make your shots more worthy. During an insta kills, a good spot is to stand by the drop down. When you're running low on ammo, just make your way over to spawn room and do the double AAT strat, which is Deadwire and turn. Then shortly after, we conquer this round 100 at 3 hours and 37 minutes flawless, with 41 minutes still remaining on day 4. At this point, we have 24 hours and 41 minutes time remaining for the challenge, and with Zets and Shi No Numa being the last 2 maps left, I estimated that it may take up to 16 hours to complete these 2 maps, giving us 8 to 9 hours to spare. The dilemma here was I could either power through so that in case if I fail a map, I would still have time to rerun it, or I could take another nap and cannot fail a map. I actually ended up taking the nap decision because I knew my body needed the rest from the fever and health is important. Starting off the final day, I slept about 5 hours for my 4th nap, which was also going to be my last lap for the challenge. With roughly almost 19 hours remaining, we must complete both Zets and Shi No Numa in order to pass the challenge. I've not yet forgotten about the curse round 92 incident that I had on this map back on my 7 days challenge. That wasn't going to happen again because this game I don't plan on setting up any imprints nor any fruit plants in order to save time. Just making sure our perk quest is a simple one, as we'll be getting Widow's Wine as our 5th bonus perk. Let's be honest, amalgams are super annoying, but these guys are even worse. I just realized that I had to get the KT4 as well if I wanted to get Widow's Wine. That is going to be a bit annoying. I swear, trying to secure these rituals without monkey bombs can get quite rough. An easy skip when doing this lockdown is simply pop an ABH. For the early rounds, I like to camp by the railing at the ICR area as the spawns are fast and it's easy to make points. Got the skull by round 13 and we were pretty much almost set up. The high round strategy is basically training inside of the skull room, but first we need to make enough points to upgrade our guns to take out the queen. I haven't fought this boss for over 2 years since I typically would go for Cherry instead of Widows. I think it's very unique how they made Widows have his own puddle of fruit punch. Now it's time to lock in because this map is not an easy 100, especially without Cherry. The strat here requires running in a counterclockwise route, but it's actually a lot more difficult than it looks. In my opinion, I think out of all BO3 maps, Zets definitely has one of the hardest training strats in the game. It really sucks not having Electric Cherry because you're unable to stun the zombies nor Cherry the spiders. So occasionally you will have to pop those safety guns. Don't be cheap. Like, these spiders are just so annoying. Good spot to camp with the death machine is at the back left corner. The most dangerous area in this room is probably this corner, and occasionally you will have to do these super sketchy cutbacks in order to not get stuck. And another scenario here again. Then once again, we hit that round 100 at 4 hours and 35 minutes with no down. With Shi No Numa being the last on the line, we must reach that round 100 within 13 hours and 30 minutes. This map is by far my least favorite map, so I was not looking forward in playing this at all. If you have not tried the thermal scope before, I'd highly recommend it because you can literally x-ray the zombies in the forest. I initially wanted to try out the triple trap strat, but knowing RNG on this map is absolutely terrible, I don't think it's worth trying to reset to get the proper setup, and time is also kind of kinda tight. Ended up getting a Mark II within the first couple hits, so that was a good start. Just trying to set up the max ammo Easter egg here. Then on round 15, we surprisingly managed to get the waffle out of the box pretty quickly. Got stamina up from the Wonder Fist, and now we're off to the high round strategy. We're going to be spending most of our time hanging out here in the comm room as we'll be utilizing traps and spamming our waffle. So happy that there's actually a gun machine right by our strategy, because back on Zets, you would have to run all the way from skull room to spawn room every single time you need to hit the gun, and it legit just felt like labor. An hour and 15 minutes and we were already at round 50. This map is like a brother of Nacht, where the earlier 60 rounds are reasonably quick, then it becomes like a crawl after that. At around 50 plus, texture bug will start appearing on this map where your Mark II shots, traps, and the glow of the drops will be invisible. I honestly have no idea why this bug is only on this map. Like, I would understand if it happened in the past 200 because the game might be unstable, but round 50 plus is a joke. At 60 plus, you will have to start transitioning over to the double trap strat, where after the calm trap ends, we will have to bring them over to the flogger trap. On round 70, I took a frustrating down due to the invisible trap because I didn't realize the trap was still on. Not sure if you could tell, but if you watch me do this challenge live, a lot of the times if you looked at my face expression, I looked dead. And the truth is, I am exhausted as hell, which explains why I didn't talk as much after I got the fever. At around 74, we were just a little under 10 hours left remaining in the challenge, but this also meant that if I gamed over right now, I would not have enough time to rerun Shino because I predicted that this map was gonna take around 10 hours. Rounds were starting to feel like a crawl in the 80s. What's worse is that when you tend to be more tired, the rounds feels even slower. Rounds were taking nearly 20 minutes in the 90s. It was awful. Then on round 91, I took an extremely scary down. I somehow just got destroyed right there. Needed to throw 2 monkey bombs just to try to get Jug back. Managed to clutch right back into the strat, and with just a little under 5 hours left, I tried to gather my last bit of energy to try to push through the last few rounds, and then finally, history was made. Yo, GG's boys. Yep, GG's. Let's go. W, let's go. We beat it. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, I'm done. I'm so happy. This was by far the most difficult challenge I've ever done in zombies. In the past 5 days, we have only slept for a total of 18 hours, and we also managed to clock in a total of 83 hours of just game time. It wasn't just about reaching round 100, but it was a hardcore marathon grind. We needed to carefully plan out how many maps we had to play, how many hours of sleep I was allowed to get, and which strategies would work the best. After I completed this challenge, I slept for about 10 hours, went out to grab some fall, and ended up puking at the restaurant. My fever got worse, my immune system was also down, and it felt like I got hit by COVID or something. I ended up having to lay in bed for a straight 72 hours like a dead man because I was really sick. That being said, I hope my sacrifice for this challenge was worth it for you guys to watch. I do not plan on reattempting to beat this challenge in 4 days in the future, as I have already pushed beyond my limits. Above all, I hope you guys enjoyed this montage, and if you did, please like this video, and that will conclude this series.